They're coming for us. Get them. Get them. They're coming in hot.
I got one.
Don't get cocky, kid.
But it's a Pod Bros podcast.
What do you mean it's a podcast? You haven't been shooting? They're all over the place.
Well, no, but they've got all sorts of good shows like Pencil and Ink Reviews and The Guy Huddle and Players vs. Podcasts. I mean, was I supposed to?
Yes. What? How many podcasts do they have?
There's tons. You got other ones like The Accidental Wrestling Fan and Take Aim Outdoors.
That kind of sounds like we should make podcasts, not war.
Aww. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. And Shawn, you have a treasure trove of things for us to discuss. A veritable cornucopia, a plethora, as they would say in the land of Mexico.
I've got a wide.
I don't know. I saw it on Three Amigos.
I've got a wide variety of things. So recently we've talked about Tiffany and I going on a bike ride, and it was kind of that situation where, whenever your spouse is like, "Hey, let's go do this thing," you're like, "Oh, that's work. That's an activity I don't want to do."
Right.
But you do it anyway, right?
And then you're like, "Wait, this is the person that I have sex with."
So if I say no,
I should do what they say.
But so recently this weekend we had some time off, and this kind of same thing came up. So I'm sitting there with my wife and her parents, and she looks at me and she says, "I want a kayak."
Oh God!
And that's instantly I'm like, "Oh my God, this is like a bike. This is work."
Yeah, this sounds worse than the bike.
This is on the water. We know what's in the water. I've seen pictures.
Sharks in the water.
But
Man goes into kayak. Kayak goes in the water. Sharks in the water.
It's like, this is a landlocked pond, Shawn.
Land shark.
So she just keeps kind of saying more and more how she wants this kayak. She wants it and wants it. And finally, I'm just like, fine, go ahead. Go pick it up. Her dad and I went and saw a movie. And when I get back, there's a kayak in my boat and a kayak in the back of my truck. So I look at it. It looks pretty cool, but it's one of those things that you have a feeling whenever you go out to do these things, like buy a bike or this kind of hobby that you're not used to, it's just going to get thrown to the wayside. You do it once, do it twice, and then it's like, hey, where'd that kayak go?
Exactly. You know what? I can give you a perfect example. Everybody has a treadmill somewhere in their house that is covered in clothes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have that treadmill, and it's like, I'm going to start using that treadmill. And then 6 months go by, and then all your dress shirts are hung on it.
It's like, man, I'd love to work out, but all my clothes are sitting there.
You'd be like, now I got to move all those clothes if I want to run on it. That's just, it's too much. It's too much, man.
It's too much
work.
It's too much exercise to move these clothes and work out. I can only do one or the other.
Right? I mean, like, if all the stuff was off of it, like, now we might, I think it's possible, but, like, the fact that I'd have to, like, where am I going to put it? Like, I can't lay them on the bed. They'll get wrinkled.
Yeah. So we get the kayak, and we get all set up and ready to go, and she's wanting to get on it, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I didn't even want to get in the thing. I don't have a big fear of water itself, but I wouldn't call myself a water person.
So does the kayak fit both of you?
No, it's a single-person kayak.
Okay.
The paddle that she has is made more for her. But
all right.
So she gets in, and just like years ago, we did paddle boarding, which is like a big surfboard with a paddle.
All right.
And she took that to like a fish to water. She gets on it, starts paddling, and I get on it, and I barely get off the dock and bloosh, fall right in the water. And there's nothing to make you feel less of a man than seeing your wife just paddling away, not having any issues. You falling in the water, to come back up to laughter from people on the dock. And so you get determined. You're trying to get back on this surfboard.
Did she like turn and give you that look like, oh sweet Jesus, here we go?
She started paddling faster to get away. I don't know this guy. And so
No, I do not sleep with him. I do not. No.
some dude like with ripped abs, California style,
Yeah.
comes rolling up like, "Hey, what's up? Do you know that guy back there?" It's like, no.
Paddling along, and then like out of nowhere, like a wind is like tossing his blonde long hair back.
It's dry too. I have no idea how his hair's dry.
Right? It's like magic. You're a wizard.
But I'm trying to
Paddle boating, kayaking wizard.
And so I'm fighting to get back on this board, and everybody's just laughing. And you're like, "Stupid people." You get back on there, like, "Oh, show them you try to stand up." Sploosh. It's like, damn it. At this point, you just want to drown.
Right? You're like, I'll just sit here. Just let me die.
This is a good death. But so I finally get on the board, and I realized if I'm on my knees or sitting down, I can actually row with this. But to go back to the kayak story, she jumps in the kayak, and she's just having no trouble at all going. And so that whole scenario is playing in my head. I'm like, I'm going to get in this freaking kayak and flip over, and, it's just going to be more frustration than anything.
God, it's the paddle boat. It's the paddle board all over again.
But
there's that blonde guy. Why is he following us?
Where the hell did he come from? Do you know that guy? Same guy you were with last year? No, I don't have a clue who he is.
I came down on my kayak from Valhalla.
But so she gets back in. She did a few circles and was fine. And so I was like, all right, this is my turn, I guess. So I hop in it, and I push myself out. And it's honestly, I think I found a new passion because I'm just paddling away, going up and down, going fast, doing turns. Didn't fall in once.
Wow.
I know.
And you're like, where's the wind?
Yeah.
I need the wind to blow my hair.
I'm like, where's that surfer at? Check this out, dude. But it's so we do the whole thing. Then we got out in today too before we left, and it was a lot of fun. And so it's one of those things, like, I'm checking my phone as we get back. It's like, all right. It's one of those things where you get a passion finally, or a hobby, and you get that excitement. Like, okay, I need to get this. I need to get this. Oh, we could go a trip here, get a trip here, and do all these fun things.
I had a friend of mine that constantly like posts videos of him kayaking down like streams and whatever. And I don't know, he must have like a camera attached to like a helmet.
Oh,
and films himself like going through all these like, rivers and like white water and shit like that. And I'm looking at that, I'm looking like me personally, if I'm, if I got this little boat and I'm going down the river, like all I'm thinking is, don't die. Going along, don't die, and there's a rock, don't die. Oh, look, some trees, I don't care, I don't want to die. Like that would be that's my thought process. That would be my thought process. And I don't think it's not that I'm not outdoorsy. I just don't tempt fate. I'm not a tempter.
Yeah, and Tiffany and I talked about it. So being on the lake, there's a few wakes from boats and stuff, but it's nothing crazy. And we already talked about, it's like, we could do, like the float trip type stuff where there's a little bit of water, but, we've already talked, it's like, whitewater rafting would just be too stressful for us. But, like, we thought, like, these would be great times to go out on this lake and just kind of paddle out, for an hour or two, then come back. And I think that's the approach we're going to take.
Well, plus you only have the one kayak.
Well,
so what would happen? Like you would be going, or she would be going down the river, and then you're just like running down the down the bank.
Well, that's where the issue comes in.
Come back!
It becomes the kids with the remote control. It's like, it's my turn. It's my turn. It's like, Shawn, if you keep whining, we're not going to have sex ever again. No, it's my turn.
Don't make me turn this whitewater trip around.
But that's where hobbies are kind of a pain in the ass, because as I was doing that, I'm like, oh, man, this is fun. This is fun. I'm like, damn it. We're going to have to get another one, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I was kind of frustrated in the fact that I liked it so much, because basically now we're going to have to get 2 of these kayaks so that we can do these things together.
Why are all hobbies a money drain? I struggle to find a cheap hobby aside from I don't know, taking pictures in the woods, like walking around and snapping and snapping pictures.
Sudoku. So that's a fairly cheap hobby, I think.
That is. That all that requires is a subscription to your newspaper, or do you just buy a book? Because even the photography thing, if you want to get really good at it, then it's like I got to buy a new camera, and it's got to be a really cool camera, and I got to get these cool lenses to do all this stuff. I've seen digital like DSLR cameras go for like $600.
Oh yeah,
for a camera.
The sky's the limit. You can, I mean, that's one of the hobbies that you can spend as much money as you want.
Right.
And I know with like this thing, usually the first thing whenever you find a hobby, you start looking at like accessories, because that's where a lot of your money comes in. You know, it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I got the general stuff. I've got the kayak. I've got the paddle. What else do I need? Quote, need. And so far, and I might be looking at the wrong things, but I've looked at kayak accessories, and I have found nothing. Like, there's no.
Well, don't you need one of those suits? Kind of like a wetsuit, you know? You can be clad in spandex from head to toe.
Well, see, I think you would need those if you were like going in like off the coast of California or something like that. And we all know
a giant condom,
a black condom. We all know there is absolutely no way that I'm going to go kayaking off the coast of California, because sharks eat kayakers. And so I'm doing this research to kind of figure out what I want.
Babe, I love my new hobby. Boom. And dead.
Whee! What's that fish doing? But the first article I saw as I typed in kayak today was a kayaker off the coast of California was knocked off his boat unconscious by a shark.
See, but he survived.
I guess he did, but
because the shark just, came up and he's like, "Get out of my water," and like hits him with the tail.
Get off my lawn!
Whack! Cracks his head on a rock and passes out. Is it okay? I've never been in a kayak. Is it easy in terms of like what? Is it possible? How possible is it for me to get in it and then it flips over and I'm upside down?
I think if it flips over, you should be able to fall out pretty easy. To flip it over would take a lot of work, because I mean it's pretty wide and stable.
Okay.
We were getting in it on kind of like dry land and kind of like falling into the water. So like those little docks, we'd start on the water and push ourselves in. So if you were stepping in,
everything I know about kayaking I've learned from cartoons, and so to me there is a large margin of error. Because I'm thinking you go along, you hit a rock and dead. Because I'm not I'm not goofy. So
I would think doing white water, it'd be pretty easy to flip it if you didn't know what you're doing. But just on like a pond or lake or slow moving water, I think it's pretty difficult.
All right.
And I mean, I did it for 35 minutes and I didn't fall in the water once. And I had our puppy with us too, sitting in my lap, and she was moving all over the place and didn't tip us. So, and actually Tiffany's mom got in it too, and she did a good job. So
you could always go in like cold water, and there's probably not sharks in cold water.
That's where the big great whites are at.
Oh.
Don't you watch Seal Island?
No.
That's the worst place to be.
You think you're safe, but you're really not. You're really not.
It's like, hey, all these seals are
sharks everywhere.
All these seals are here. It must be safe.
Yeah. Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, look at all these seals. Who's eating them? Arm, arm, arm. Oh, that is.
Oh. Battle faster. Take the girl.
Yeah, I must say, for you, especially, for you to find a hobby that requires you to be on water, I don't know if this is the best decision for you.
I'm going to be the first guy in like one of these lakes that shouldn't have any sharks to get attacked by a shark.
Yeah.
Although I have seen...
It's like coming... Like, Rich, I found a new hobby. Deep sea diving.
What could go wrong? I don't know if you've seen...
I'm just going to do it in lakes. There's a pond out back. I was gonna jump in.
Go down and there's catfish the size of Volkswagens. It's just as scary.
I've heard of that in in the river, in the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I've heard that
towards the bottom. There's gigantic catfish.
That's what I've heard, and I know the lake we go to. There's those huge gars, like 10-foot gars, and these are these big fish with sharp teeth. Supposedly they don't bother people, but you go.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, a catfish the size of a Volkswagen, like a Volkswagen Beetle.
That's a big ass fish.
I'd be if I'm down there swimming and I see that thing, my first thought is, yeah, it's not a shark, but it's gonna eat me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a gigantic catfish and I'm swimming, down there and like all you're eating is, stuff that falls to the bottom or, whatever. And then all of a sudden I see this nice tender morsel of meat. Yeah, I'm thinking that's food. Look at that food with the bubbles coming out of the top.
Gonna be my bubbles and food.
Nom, nom, nom.
But yeah, so that's something I think I'm gonna end up making as my new hobby. And I've already told Tiffany that we're not going in the ocean at all in these type of things, because I don't know if you've seen, there's a famous picture of a kayaker. I think it's off some island, and there's like a big 12 or 15-foot great white shark tailing it. Like there's some.
No, I have not seen that picture, but it doesn't surprise me at all that you have.
Yeah, it's on my. Whenever Tiffany's like, "Hey, let's go to the ocean," I pull that up on my phone. I say, "No."
Look at this.
It's like, but it's not attack.
That's what lives in the ocean. That's why I'm not putting this boat in the ocean.
She's like, it didn't attack him. It's like, yeah, not yet. But you know what's going to happen when we go in the water?
Yeah. Let's look 5 pictures later and see what happens.
Not going to happen.
So no ocean for you. Okay. I like how you had to sell that up front.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you're like, hey, this is fun, what could go wrong? Oh, wait.
Yeah. This water looks a little too murky. What's that spot?
You're out there, and you're like, what would happen? I know exactly what happened. You're out there paddling, and you're like, wow, this is easy and fun. Hey, babe, we're not going in the ocean with this.
Yeah, basically. The first time a shark gets spotted in any waters that I go to, it's like, all right, we're done.
And I'm out.
Let's take this to the pool.
Put the girl in the water.
She plays a trick on me, starts putting chum on the back of the boat.
Just ties it to the bottom.
She's there the next day with the newscast. She's like, I don't know what happened. It was his biggest fear.
Well, not even that. Like, she could take up snorkeling. This would be perfect. See, this would be the practical joke that I would play. I would take up snorkeling, so then you would be paddling, and then I would snorkel behind you, and I'd just put a shark fin on the back of on my back. So you turn around and you just see the shark fin like bobbing up and down towards you.
I'm pretty sure he broke the sound barrier going as fast as he could in his kayak.
You paddled through the lake in under 2 minutes.
You see me on the edge of, like, on shore, just still paddling the hell out of it. It's like, Shawn, you're fine. You're on land.
Bad. Go away.
But yeah, I know when you're talking about hobbies, and that was so. It's not super cheap to get your kayak and your paddle. I mean, it's not too expensive. It's basically like getting like.
Are there degrees of kayaks? Are there degrees of paddles? Is one paddle better than another paddle?
I think I didn't really look too much at paddles. I think those are pretty much in like 3 categories, like cheap, medium, expensive. And I think it's one of those things like the medium expensive, there's not a huge difference. When it comes to kayaks, it's just kind of like anything like cameras or anything like that. There's, your cheap ones that aren't really worth anything, your medium ground, and then you just go up from there. I mean, you can spend, $500, $600,000. There's probably some that are like $2,000, $3,000. And I would think those are probably more for people who want to go out like on the ocean, like fish and things like that. That's when you have your GoPro hookup, you have extra compartments to put stuff. that type of thing. But the one
You've actually found a hobby that that requires you to be on a boat, and not even a large boat, a small boat on the water.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes when we get
that. In the event you did run into a shark, that this shark could easily, handedly chomp on.
Yeah, I guess, as I'm going through, he's going to think I'm a seal. Babe!
Right, and I mean...
Babe! We're not doing this anymore. No, yeah. We look like a seal. Yeah, looks like a seal. Yeah, we're going to have to take your wetsuit
What's
back.
this bag tied to the bottom? Because, I mean, think about it. Look at Jaws. Like, they were in a boat. Like a boat. And shark just jumped out of the water and boom, on the boat.
You wouldn't have to jump.
Made the boat sink.
Wouldn't even have to jump on this thing. Just come up from underneath.
You're not even on a boat. You're like on a preteen boat.
They crunch it right in half.
Yeah.
Damn it. Now I'm scared. I just wet myself a little bit.
Should be.
But yeah, with this, I haven't really found any, because I was expecting, so I knew the prices, you need a paddle, you need a kayak, and I was expecting like the accessories to be the thing, like, oh, we have to have this little thing or otherwise it's not going to work. You need this little thing. Here's another cool thing you can have. I haven't really found anything with that stuff. It's just basically you need the kayak and the paddle and you're good to go.
Right. Well, I guess you could get the little camera helmet thing so you can film yourself paddling along and then later on watch it and force others to watch it.
That'll be our weekly episodes on our YouTube channel. It's just me going splash. Is that a shark? Okay, no, it's just a limb. Splash, splash. Oh shit! Is that a shark?
It's like it's you dragging your kayak along the side of the lake, like this is fun. La la la. What's that? And then you just drop the boat and run.
I think this spot's safe. I thought he said this was
30 seconds of you dragging the boat along the shore, and then 3 minutes of you running through the woods going, shark, shark.
You just see me in the fetal position crying.
Be like the Blair Witch Project, only no one is afraid but you.
Tiffany comes back up. She's like, Shawn, Brad from Hawaii's here, so I'm gonna go kayak with him, okay? Makes me safe, honey.
You look so beautiful. Yeah. I can't say no.
I hope you get eaten by a shark, Brad. What the fuck you say? Nothing.
That shaky cam going through the woods. Shark, shark.
Oh, million hit episodes right there.
So, Shawn, it's time for an ad.
It's time for what?
It's time for an advertisement. So we've done this podcast. We've done this podcast for a year now. And who's excited? Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's both be excited.
Oh, dude, I am pumped.
Point is it doesn't take much equipment to do this, but one critical, and I do mean critical piece of equipment you have to have for this is a pair of headphones. Because I need to listen to you. So I need to listen to your horrible draft choices, and I need to listen to your stories about wizards.
Well, we do this podcast in different places, so we both have to have these headphones in. And it sucks to pay full price for headphones.
No,
I don't know. Do you like to pay money on stuff when you can save money?
You know what? You wouldn't think the headphones would be expensive because they're like, oh, they're little things that go in your ear. But not only do they get pricey, but also like it's hard to find that balance of like money and quality. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You either have to pay a crap ton of money and get expensive headphones, or you can buy some cheap ones down the street that suck, and what happens to those? They go out in like a week, maybe 2 weeks, if you're lucky.
I found the best place you can get a really great pair of headphones. Okay, and it gets better. It gets better, okay? So what you need to do is you need to go to tweakedaudio.com. They have all kinds of headphones. They've got not only headphones, but they've got accessories for your headphones.
So what's this going to cost me in shipping? Shipping's always an arm and a leg when you buy something online.
Shipping is an arm and a leg, but guess what? They're going to send you these headphones. They're going to send you the accessories, and they're going to send it to you for no cost.
Free shipping? What?
I can't think of anything that's better than free. There's not much better than free.
I mean, I'm already sold. You told me lifetime warranty, free shipping. I mean, what could possibly make me want to go to Tweaked Audio anymore to buy me some headphones?
Oh, here we go. Go to Tweaked Audio, and you use the promo code LOBARMY, you will save an additional 33% on your entire order.
What? That's like a third off, man.
Yeah, that is a third off. I'm glad that we figured out math here. Yeah, 33% off. So free shipping and 33% off your entire order by using the promo code LOBARMY.
Man, it's tweaked audio. It just sounds better. So as we're down there, so when Tiffany decided to go pick up this kayak, Tiffany's dad and I said, all right, well, we're not staying at the cabin. We're going to go see a movie. So we made the trip into town, and we went and checked out the new Terminator movie, Terminator Genisys, which you haven't seen yet, right?
I have not. I have not seen this.
I
mean, I've seen the previews, and all I'm getting from it is like, hey, there's an old Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hey, it's Daenerys Stormborn. Okay. That's as far as I've gotten.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh yeah, that's the Mother of Dragons there. And she kind of plays the same character. She does that whole like thing with her lips where she kind of which, instantly my mind goes to other things.
And of course, it's
like,
fucking
ooh.
it's the Mother of Dragons. Ooh. Hello.
Ooh. Is it getting hot in here or is it just me?
Ooh.
Look at those. Ooh, look at those lips moving. Ooh, bae. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, yell a little bit more. Ooh. I gotta go.
I'll be her Iron Throne. She can sit on me.
But have you seen the preview with where they show like where her son comes into play in the show?
Like in the beginning?
Well, because I saw a bunch of trailers for this movie, and I really wasn't interested in it. And this is kind of one of the things that ruins movies for me, I guess. But I was kind of sitting there seeing most of these early trailers where it shows them sending John Connor's guy back in time to save his mom. And
right.
You're like, okay, so this guy goes back in time and works with her, and like there's a switch in the timeline. It's like, okay, all right, I'm for that. Like a week before it came out, they showed another trailer where they showed all that stuff, but then they had a piece in there where they show John Connor going back in time, and he ends up...
Oh, that I didn't see.
Okay, yes, because he ends up becoming like a bad guy. I did air quotes, bad guy. And so I was like, oh, that sparked my interest in the movie. I'm like, oh, okay, that seems kind of cool. But what sucks about that is that was a really pivotal part in the movie, like halfway through, where if you didn't know that going into that movie, and all of a sudden you see him come back, you're like, oh, okay, and then an event happens.
So the trailer kind of spoiled it for you, is what you're saying.
A little too much.
I didn't know this at all. Okay, so in the beginning, John Connor sends a Terminator to back in the past to save Sarah Connor.
Well, he's not a Terminator. He's like one of his soldiers. So they infiltrate Skynet, and he's like, okay, well, we're going to send you back in time to help my mother. And, she's going to be scared. She's going to be, blah, 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 blah. So,
right. And then he gets there, and then it turns out that there's a T-1000 that's trying to kill Sarah Connor. But then Sarah Connor, I mean, I'm describing stuff from the trailer, so I don't think I need to put spoilers in here.
No, yeah, I mean that's all, yeah.
So Sarah Connor, shows up in the little armored truck and does the classic line, come with me if you want to live. And you're like, yay, Daenerys!
I don't understand why he hesitated. I mean, if the Mother of Dragon shows up and says, come with me if you want to live, I'm like, hell yeah.
I'm like, all I heard was come in that sentence. Let's go.
I heard come with me. That's all I heard. Take your pants off in the thing.
Yes, ma'am. Twice if I'm lucky.
Just give me 10 minutes. But yeah, so they send one of the soldiers back, and the timeline's been shifted. And so all that they showed really heavy in the trailer. So I was like, okay, I might want to go see it. But in one of the later trailers, you see John Connor go back, and it's basically shown that he has been compromised, I guess, by Skynet. And they've injected him. I mean, they kind of show this in the trailer, too. Like, they've injected him with something, so he's kind of a computer cyborg type person. He's like
evil John Connor.
yeah.
Does he grow a beard?
Oh, he's got scars.
Like Spock and Evil Spock.
Yeah, he's got scars, but those scars go away.
Yeah.
But it's kind of frustrating with some movies and TV shows that do this, because you're sitting there and you see all this stuff happening, and it's about probably the halfway mark when he comes back in time. And when you first see him, you're like, he's a bad guy. I know he's a bad guy. I've seen it in the trailer. That's a bad guy. And
so in the movie they send John Connor back, and it's kind of ambiguous whether he's good or evil.
Well, he just comes,
but you know he's evil because you watched the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Because he comes back in time.
Oh, well, that's kind of they're kind of burying the lead.
Exactly, yeah. Because he comes back and sees his mom and the guy they sent back. They're all like, "Oh my God, John!" Blah blah blah, and they start hugging and stuff. And he's like, "All right, well, I got to get you guys out of here. I got to help you out." And if you didn't know all this, and there's a big event that happens with this too, with the Terminator, the Arnold Schwarzenegger character, that if you didn't know that John Connor was bad, you would be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Oh,
but it's all buried because you're like, well, the Terminator's a good guy. I know he's a good guy, so what he just did was right because he knows what's going on. And it just kind of kills you there for that very climactic event that it would just be that what the fuck moment kind of thing. Because all the trailers up to that last one they put out, you had no idea John Connor was going to go back in time too.
Yeah, I didn't know this. I haven't seen this later trailer, so I didn't know this until you just told me. Do they have like a Back to the Future 2 moment where they're like, Doc Brown's like, we're on this timeline. Some point at here, the timeline skewed and created this alternate timeline where you are here and your mother is married to Biff. And oh God, was Sarah Connor married to Biff Tannen?
I didn't want to spoil it too much, but yeah, he's in there.
Oh, I knew it.
He's got a casino, and the casino's what starts Skynet. It's kind of weird, but it makes sense.
So now we have to wait for the third movie where John Connor becomes like a cowboy.
Yeah, they go back to the West. They did leave it pretty ambiguous about, because there's a lot of stuff that happens, because the Terminator that helps Sarah Connor goes back in time to help her as a kid. They showed that in the trailer. But they never explain.
Yeah, I saw that.
They never explain who sends him back. But there's just all these events where like somebody's sending somebody back even further in time. And so, like I said, it's definitely setting up for more movies of like, oh well.
Yeah, see, that's the beauty of time travel. Like time travel opens up everything, but then it also creates so many holes that you're just like, well, what if you just did this? Like, what if you just went back earlier?
Well, that's how you get away with it. You're like, well, how'd that happen? Wouldn't they know? It's like, oh.
What if you kill Sarah Connor? What if you kill baby Sarah Connor? What if you kill Sarah Connor's parents? What if you kill Sarah Connor's grandparents?
Yeah, just keep going back, It's
like, at what point do we stop?
Skynet's just like,
all right, here we go. We're going to send the Terminators to ancient China.
I just see the guy from Skynet. They send a Terminator back to when the first thing swims out of the ocean, and they step on it. No, there's going to be nothing. There is a Doctor Who character in this movie. I don't know if you've heard.
Oh, no. Tell me.
I'm trying to remember what his name is. Give me a momento. I don't know if they'll show it on there or not. I think it's the newest, not the newest one. It is the one after the Doctor I like.
Matt Smith?
Yes, I believe Matt Smith is in there.
Yeah. What's he doing?
Well, I'd like to tell you, but that'll spoil it a little too much. But they don't even tell you who he is in the IMDb, just that he is in the movie.
Oh,
so
now I'm curious.
I can throw up spoilers if you want, and we could talk about it.
Well, yeah, because you already. I didn't know about the trailer thing, so
okay. So we're going into full spoiler mode right now.
Full spoiler territory on Terminator Genisys. That's what we're calling it, right? It looked good. Like the trailer I saw, it looked kind of cool. I was like, yeah, okay. Little time travel. Time travel fucks shit up, but whatever. And hey, it's Daenerys Stormborn. All right. Old Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, okay, we have somebody to say the fucking lines, but all right.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't anything fancy, but so when you see the Kyle Reese character, the guy the soldier who they're sending back, he's in this big time travel machine, and you see Matt Smith's character dressed as a soldier, kind of like walking up towards the John Connor character.
Okay.
Right as the Reese character is getting sent back in time, Matt Smith puts his hand around John Connor, and like this red stuff starts to sparkle on him, and then that's it. That's all you see. It gets revealed later on into the movie that Matt Smith is actually Genisys, which becomes Skynet. So Genisys,
So Matt Smith is Skynet?
yeah. So Genisys is like a operating system, and they do a cool thing with this where they jump into 2017. So 1997 was supposed to be when Judgment Day happened, but with the alternate timeline, that got pushed to 2017. So this Genisys,
So is that where he travels back to?
he travels back to 84, 82.
Okay.
And that's where he meets Sarah Connor. And then they go to 2017 because there's kind of a weird thing where as him as a kid in this alternate timeline, he has memories of stuff. So that's when he knows what to do.
Okay.
And so they find out that Genisys is what creates Skynet. So they have to try and destroy Skynet, Genisys. But as they get to 2017, they sell this Genisys as, it's all your information in the cloud. It really plays on today's society where people are constantly on the phone. They have all their data in this cloud. They're kind of dumb to the world. They're
the fear that we all have that like when the iPhone came out and be like, it's Skynet. Everything's saved in the cloud.
Exactly.
Just like
yeah.
Skynet.
And that's
there's satellites that are like Elon Musk is like, hey, we're gonna launch satellites and try and provide global Wi-Fi, and everybody's like, yeah, like Skynet.
That's exactly what it is. And it's like, oh, all your data, all your systems, all your devices are hooked as one. And so there's this big countdown, and as you're seeing, it's very Resident Evil, where Genisys, you see a kid kind of embodiment of it, and it's I'm doing this for me kind of thing, like humans are bad. And you start seeing it grow up until it becomes the Matt Smith character. And then you get the realization, it's like, oh shit, that's the guy who changed John Connor into what he was.
Oh, so he turned, so the doctor, I'm going to call him doctor. So the doctor turns John Connor evil because he is the precursor to Skynet.
Yeah.
Ooh, he saved John Connor in the cloud.
He put John Connor in the cloud, exactly. And I'm just looking at this.
Okay.
So Jason Clarke played John Connor, and Emilia Clarke played Sarah Connor. Are they married?
I have no idea. I really don't know.
That's kind of a Back to the Future-esque situation because, Emily Clarke was his mom, and he went back in time.
Oh, God, see, now you're making my brain hurt. This is what time travel does.
I don't see...
We need to get off the time travel. It fucks shit up.
I don't see who she's married to.
For some reason, it works in Doctor Who. I don't know why, but it seems like that's the only place it works. It's the only place I've seen time travel work somewhat seamlessly. I mean, there's still holes, but they're not gigantic gaping holes that make your brain hurt.
Well, I guess doesn't the Doctor try not to... It's like Quantum Leap. Well, Quantum Leap...
You can't leap to the same place twice?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much is like that. That there's certain points in time that he can't get to. There's also certain points in time that he can't change the outcome.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That there's the way the Doctor describes it, and actually Matt Smith is the one that describes it. He says that there's certain points in time that are fixed that must happen. David Tennant describes this too. There are many things that are in flux, but there are certain fixed points in time that absolutely must happen. And I think that's how Doctor Who is able to kind of navigate through time travel. Time travel is I would never want, if I was a writer on a show, I would never want to introduce time travel because then it's like, oh shit. Now what do I do?
Well, it kind of allows you to you get somebody, or you figure out a hole in your story. It's like, well, if this happened, then how would this happen? You just have to write an episode that explains how somebody else time traveled to allow that to happen.
Right.
So yeah,
and then it's a rabbit hole. You just go down it and then you can never get out. I'll tell you another show that time travel actually kind of works in, Futurama.
Does he just go to the future though? Or do they go back to the past?
Well, he went into cryogenic sleep and went to the future, but there were a few episodes where he went back in time. He actually went back in time and, if I remember correctly, he went back in time and fathered himself.
Okay.
Or he's his own grandparent.
So big spoiler here on Terminator. Do you want me to expose this big spoiler? You're talking about fathering in the past?
I'm fine with it. Like I said, I mean, you're already giving away the candy of the candy store, so, throw it all in the street.
So the Kyle Reese character is born in like 2008, 2009, something like that. And he is born after Judgment Day in his first existence, if you will. And John Connor saves him from a Terminator at this point in time and takes him under his wing, and he becomes a soldier and then sends him back in time.
Okay.
So I don't know if they ever say who John Connor's dad is, but in this new movie, John Connor's dad is this Kyle Reese character. So his dad was born after him, who he protected and saved and sent back in time to bang his mom to create him.
See?
Yeah. So
they stole this from Futurama. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting right now.
Well, that's where you get that weird web.
So I don't need to watch Terminator. I could just watch
Futurama
and laugh some more. I'd laugh at certain parts. And
well, that's what made me think is like, so if you go back in time, like if you could go back in time, it's like, well, I want to bang Marilyn Monroe. What happens if you knock her up? What's going to happen then? Your kid is going to be born 40 years before you are.
I love Futurama.
I could get into.
Do you know that they actually had people that had PhDs were the ones that wrote that show. I think they had a combined experience of 50 years at Harvard.
Oh wow! Because then a lot of the formulas and stuff, like they tried to get as accurate as they could. Or
there's actually one formula about body swapping. Like people that, they like swap consciousness in bodies, and they actually work the math. And there's a theorem that Farnsworth puts on the board about, well, if these people switch bodies if these people switch bodies and do this and that, then they should be able to switch back to normal. And they actually wrote out the math on this board, and the person that figured it out wrote a paper on it.
Nice.
So it's actually called, you can Wikipedia this. It's called the Futurama theorem.
Huh. It's kind of interesting you bring that up, because there's a new movie coming out called Selfless. And I'm kind of curious if we ever get to the point in a society where this will happen, but
oh, is this the one with Ben Kingsley?
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds is in it.
Yes. The bad Green Lantern, as we're going to call him.
So the idea is that,
although he is Deadpool, I have seen some stills from Deadpool.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. I think it's going to be pretty sweet.
At one point, I want him to look at the camera and be like, will you people take off those fucking 3D glasses? You look ridiculous. That's what I want.
Yeah, there's got to be a bunch of that. I read on Reddit today that somebody said that during the opening of the movie, he should look in the crowd and tell everybody to turn their fucking cell phones off and watch the movie.
Yeah.
Or it was, turn your cell phones on and take all the kids out of the crowd kind of thing.
I'm picturing it like High Fidelity, where he just like does these monologues, these 5-6 minute monologues to the camera. That's what I want.
But the whole selfless thing. So in the movie, I guess it's you get so much money and you can pay a family or pay a guy, and I guess it's kind of like the Hostel thing we talked about before, where a guy in some foreign country would like get paid $10,000 to, or somebody would pay $10,000 to go into a room and shoot somebody in the head, and that money
that's what Hostel was based off of. It was a website where you paid $10,000 to walk into a room and shoot someone in the face,
and like most of that money went to the family or something like that, or a good majority of it,
something like that. Yeah.
So that's kind of what this is. The guy transfers his consciousness into another person, so they assumably die. And then the money from that goes to the family. And I wonder if we'll ever get, to a point in society where something like that could happen. Because, if you have billions of dollars, you've probably taken your whole lifetime to get to that point. Wouldn't you love to be 22, 23 again and have a, good body and be able to, enjoy that money?
Well, there was another movie like that. What was it called? The Island? I want to say.
Oh,
it was The Island?
Yeah.
With Ewan McGregor?
Where you would basically buy a clone.
Yeah, you would clone yourself. And so that way, if when you started to fail or whatever, then you got replacement parts.
You get a new arm or new leg or a new heart or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you could theoretically just go on
that movie
forever.
Yeah, that movie was sad because the company had to hide it. Because everybody thought that these clones were just kind of kept in like a, basically unconscious. But they found out that if you kept them unconscious, they wouldn't survive. So they had to keep them alive, but they hid all that from society. I mean, could you imagine finding that out today? Being like, oh yeah, so there's clones of 300,000 people underneath San Francisco.
Yeah, or like. I think it's like all the cryogenically frozen people. Maybe they're not cryogenically frozen. Like Walt Disney's head, which was in Futurama. All roads lead to Futurama.
I just think
I want to watch that show now.
Well, we've talked about like in like Fallout or Futurama or any kind of like cryo stuff where like they freeze your body and then you wake up 300 years later. I wonder, because I mean it's just like sleeping. You go to sleep and you wake up and like it feels like an instant. So do you think somewhere in the world Walt Disney's back up and spewing his anti-Semitic thoughts? And
well, for Walt Disney, it was just his head. All they froze was his head. It wasn't even the whole body.
But it's dead, right? Like his head and stuff isn't alive still.
Yeah, he's dead. Oh, he died. And if he didn't die, then the decapitation, I'm sure, took care of that.
Well, I didn't know if they're like pumping stuff into it to try and keep his brain alive somehow, or
I have no idea.
Maybe.
I don't think so. I think they just, you dead, and then into ice you go.
Well, how do we know? Maybe they are keeping him alive. That's how they got the idea for Frozen. Like Walt,
it's where he finally comes to peace with his anti-Semitic views. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go.
Oh man, I don't know. So if that was an option, would you go for that? So even if
would I want to be cryogenically frozen?
Yeah,
and then wake up 300 years, 400 years later? Sure, why not?
Would you take that if they're like, okay, so instead of you getting buried, when you die, we'll throw your brain and your head in this jar and freeze it, and hopefully someday in the future.
I want the whole package. I don't want just my head.
Throw the whole body in there?
Yeah, I want the whole body. Because what would happen, this is my luck, what would happen is, we figured out how to keep you alive and unfreeze your head, but we haven't figured out how to attach your head to a new body. So right now it's just your head. So all we have is the head.
Some intern goes in there, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to ask Mr. Richard if he wants to come out or not, and he clicks a couple buttons, and you start unthawing, and you're like, oh my god, where's my and it's like, oh shit, whoops, yeah, now you're dead. Can't bring you back.
Yeah. All it is where's the body? Where's the body?
Does he have any next of kin we can give his deposit to? No? Okay, well, pizza for everybody. Pizza? Fry was a pizza delivery man.
Yeah. Futurama. And also, if my head is floating around in a jar, like how am I talking? I mean, they talked in Futurama because, But I'm assuming that my head is floating around in some sort of liquid in order to keep, everything working. But, like, how do I talk? Those are just bubbles.
That's a good point.
They'd be like, let's see what Richard thinks. Richard, what do you think?
Blah,
Tap,
blah,
tap,
blah,
tap.
blah,
And they'd be like,
blah, 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 He's drowning. Somebody give him mouth to mouth. That's just gross. Let him die. I don't know. Yes, it's. I read it.
And then they pull my head out so I could be like, where's my body? And then I'm dead.
Because how long can you live after you've been decapitated, or your head can live? Isn't there like a minute or two, or 10 seconds?
No, I think it's shorter than that.
Okay.
Like chickens, it's like a minute or two. Well, I think it's like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. I think for humans, if you are like instantly decapitated, now I'm talking like instant. I mean, whatever device it is that is chopping your head off, it has to go clean through all that tissue, muscle, bone. It has to go through all of that in an instant. And I mean, I've never tried to cut someone's head off, but I would assume it would be a very hard endeavor.
Well, even I know the guillotine is supposed to be the best thing for that, but I don't know how clean that was even. And how would you feel? I believe the guy who created the guillotine. How would you like to be that guy?
Didn't he die on a guillotine?
I don't remember. I know his last name was like Guillotine or something like that. It was kind of. I don't think it was used for the intended purpose. I think he had a different idea for what it was for. And they're like, "Oh shit, this
circumcision."
Yeah, they're like, "This is a great way to cut people's heads off." What should we call it, Mr. Guillotine? Guillotine. That's perfect. I don't like that name. Oh yeah, we'll put your head right here.
What are we gonna call it then? The head chopper machine?
Doesn't strike fear in the heart.
What else are we gonna call it? Larry? Are we gonna call it the Larry?
Come on,
that sounds terrible.
Come on, Larry Guillotine. That's not gonna work. I'm gonna take this to the Queen. Off with his head.
Hey, Mervin over here doesn't want us to call it the guillotine.
Oh man.
But I think if you are instantly decapitated, I want to say that you have about 5 to 8 seconds.
You have just enough time to be like, "Fuck, this hurts." Dead.
Well, no, nothing. It wouldn't hurt because, like, there's no nerves, so your brain wouldn't be able to be like, "Ow, this hurts." Your brain would go, "Ow, this hurts," and then try to send it to wherever it wants to send it to, and then
nothing.
It doesn't go. So then you're just like,
You're like, "Stand up! I can't stand up. Why am I face down in this basket?" Oh man, medieval.
Otherwise, I think it'd just be like,
silence.
They wouldn't even get to the ow part. They get to
so,
and dead.
You think the first few times they got mad at the people like screaming, so they started putting apples in their mouth?
Maybe.
Like the gag isn't because we don't want to hear your last words. We just don't want to hear you hollering and hooting.
Yeah. Maybe that's why the phrase "an apple a day keeps the guillotine away" never took.
Well,
an apple a day is just what you don't need.
The king that was trying to get that passed, but quickly found himself in the guillotine, so it died with him.
That and calling it the Larry.
The Larry. Well, medieval was a rough time. You had the plague, the guillotine. Definitely not a time I'd want to go back to.
I actually saw a story that the plague, people suspect that the plague wasn't actually carried by rats, as first thought.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah.
Well, I always heard it wasn't the rats, but it was like the lice and stuff.
It was the fleas on the rats. Yeah. Is what is I guess what the story was. But apparently that's not the case. I read this story like probably 6 months ago, so I don't actually remember what the reason they suspect is. So I guess that just made this entire story quite pointless and anticlimactic. But it gives you people something to look up. Learn something.
Go out, do some research for us, and send us back how the plague started. We're expecting 4 to 6 pages.
What I want some tweets on what caused the plague. And don't say Futurama. I mean, we'll take it as a reason.
Might be a
but
wrong
I'm not
reason.
sure if that's it. It's time travel. Fucking time travel.
See, this whole episode is just you've been looking after me because I am going to be in a boat, a kayak. You're trying to save me from sharks. Now you're trying to save me from plague-induced rats because, they love to be on boats.
They do. But it wasn't the rats that caused the plague. That's my point.
It was the sharks? I don't know. I wasn't listening.
It was the paddles.
It's the paddles.
No, wait. Futurama. When in doubt, that's how I'm going to answer a question. I'm just, I don't know, Futurama. Like 42. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The answer is 42. No, the answer is Futurama.
You're going to be on Jeopardy someday, and that's the question. Oh, man, this really feels like Futurama, but I've answered the last 47 questions as Futurama, and I was wrong, so I'm going to go with guillotine. And the answer is Futurama. Son of a bitch.
Damn it. Should have said Larry.
So we got Terminator, we got kayaks, we got
Terminators and now I'm picturing Arnold Schwarzenegger in a kayak. I like to paddle on the water.
Roll faster! Roll faster!
No, don't go there. That's where the sharks are.
Grab my hand, chump.
Grab my hand. Stay away from the sharks. That's where they live. They live in the water.
Well, I guess do you want to throw any Richard's closing thoughts in here?
Well, I feel like we kind of wrapped this all up in a nice, neat little bow. Although I will, as a closing thought, I will say that time travel is where a lot of shows jump the shark. I don't know how Doctor Who manages to pull it off, but they do. But if you're a writer on a show, stay away from time travel because it seems like that's where things go wrong. And that's all I got.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and do a little housekeeping.
You do that. You do that, and you do it well.
I'm gonna do it thinking about myself paddling in a kayak, being chased by a shark. All right, visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're at languageofbro. Remember, you can always email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbromance.com. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe and leave a review on iTunes and Stitcher.
And also, don't forget to check us out on the Pod Bros Network.
Pod Bros Network. Best podcast site on the internet. And also, if you are in the need of some new headphones, why don't you go over to tweakedaudio.com. Have a bunch of different types. And if you use our promo code LOBARMY, you'll get 33% off.
33% off. That's more than, you know what that is? That's more than 20%. And I mean, I'm not a math whiz, but yeah, that's better.
That's like a third off.
33 is better than a whole lot of other numbers.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say or do before we close her out?
I'd like to do a dance, but I don't think it would take well.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the doo-doo beaver. Beaver.
Eat the beaver. Get out of the water. Get my hand.
Shark in the water.
There's a shark in the water. Man goes into kayak. Kayak goes into water.
Oh, shit. That's funny.